What's good, y'all? The OG Bronc Nuts here. New week, Broncos 0-3. Gonna talk about the game against Tampa Bay. More injuries to the Broncos team and the game coming up this week. Gonna be a long year for Broncos fans. But, I mean, look, we knew coming into it we wasn't gonna win the Super Bowl. So we just didn't expect for things to go the way they have so far this year. Broncos start the year off 0-3, which, man, we haven't done that too many times. But it's happened, and it's happened this year. But what's worse is now the best player. I mean, look, every team has injuries. Right? I mean, nobody on another team, no fan of another team ever wants to hear, oh, they're going to talk about their injuries. Well, guess what? We got guys hurt on our team too. Well, I understand that. Every team has injuries. But we have lost our best player at every single position on the football field except linebacker, where we were already weak at linebacker, only have one inside linebacker, and you need two of them. So it's like we started the year off without an inside linebacker. And now we've got our best running back hurt. We've got our best wide receiver hurt, right? We've got our starting quarterback hurt. We have our best corner, best defensive player, defensive back hurt. Our best pass rusher hurt. Our best defensive lineman hurt. I mean, how can a team even function like that? They can't. And that's why this is going to be a long year. I mean, look, you can say, oh, it's next man up in the NFL. Everybody deals with injuries. Well, they don't deal with losing their best player at every single position by week 3. And now that's happened to us. And it's unfortunate. But you still got to play the rest of the games. You still got to come out and compete. You still got to come out and have some heart. But let's be honest, Bronco fans, we didn't have super high expectations for this team. I thought this team, I told you before the season started, I thought we had a chance to win 7, 8, 9 games. I didn't really think we'd be much better than that. There was a possibility if a couple chips fall our way, the ball bounces funny in the NFL. And if the ball bounces your way, you get a tip pass, you're a lucky recipient of a fumble or a muff punt or something like that can change a game right there at the end. We might be able to win 9 or 10 and maybe sneak in as a wild card. But that was best case scenario, and that's not anybody getting hurt, especially your best player a couple of days before kickoff of the first game. And then from there, all it's been is just snap, 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 snap of players. And we're not talking about just any old players. I mean, these are big names. These are big names. Cortland Sutton's a big name. A.J. Bouye, big name. Von Miller, big name. Philip Lindsay, big name. Jarrell Casey, big name. These aren't just, oh yeah, we got another guy hurt. He's one of our starters. These are the best players at their position on our team. But it is what it is. And we're going to be terrible this year. And we're not going to win very many football games. But we will win a couple. And if we go 0-16, I'm going to still be here rooting my little heart out for them. And you have to put good draft after good draft after good draft after good draft and moves and stuff together before you can get to where you got a winning combination. I think that Elway's done that in the last couple of years, and then we get hit with this setback. So it is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it, and there's no reason to sit here and bitch and moan and complain, because ain't nobody got time for that, and nobody wants to hear that. But the facts is that, the old sayings, not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes. And we ain't got Jimmy or Joe or Billy or Bob or any of them right now that we can put out there. I mean, for crying out loud, we just signed Blake Bortles off of his couch. And he's now a backup quarterback in Denver and probably someday going to be this. I mean, there's a reason why nobody wants him on their team. I'm not getting off to Drew Lock. I mean, I think the kid's got some talent, And it sucks that we're not going to get to see him here for a few more weeks. And when he comes back, it's not like we're magically fixed. We still got big problems. Still got big problems on the offensive line. But I think we've played well enough in 2 of the 3 games to win. Winlock was in there. So I know we got some talent. I think the rest of the league knows we got some talent. We got some pretty nice, fresh dudes on this team that are young. Broncos are going to have something put together here shortly in a few years, but it's not going to happen overnight. We definitely have got to solidify and strengthen and know what we got at quarterback with Drew Lock, and it's unfortunate that he's hurt because at least as bad as we are, even at 0-3, I want Lock to be the quarterback just so we can see what we got. If the kid can play here and put this franchise on his shoulders, or if he can't. But we can't tell nothing with him standing over on the sideline. Anyway, let's get to the comments. Gary Holland, what's happening? Thanks for coming to the stream. Og Farmer, welcome to the world of misery. I used to live there. David from Colorado, hey, Bronc Nuts. At least Bowles is healthy. You're right. Diamond Rattler, thanks for coming to the stream. Wonder who's going to be left by the end of the season. Season's been a disaster. The NFL has nearly 200 injured players in it right now. I think that has to do with no offseason training. Diamond Rattler, just like you, says no preseason. I think that really hurt. And Buck Crazy says, go Bucks. Hey, good win, Buck Crazy. I thought the Bucks would be a good team. I mean, look, you go back a couple videos ago. I said I watched you the first day there, or first week against the Raiders. And I thought that, look, Tampa's going to be able to do something. I think everybody says Brady's done. He's too old. He don't look done to me. He don't look done at all. Looks like he can still play at a very high level in the NFL. And you guys got a couple nice little running backs, pretty salty little defense. I think you're going to do something this year, at least be a force towards the end of the year. And, you came and just beat up on the JV here yesterday. And that's pretty much the booty kickings the Broncos are probably just going to have to swallow and take for the rest of the year. That's the way it goes. David, I noticed you're in the stream. Look, man, I wasn't trying to cause a conflict. Now, for any of you that don't know about this, so David from Colorado and I were having a conversation over on another person's video. And, David left a comment that said, 0-16 is a reality, fire John Elway. And comments like that make me come unglued, right? Because, look, I'm not a John Elway fanboy. Okay, I like John Elway. I love John Elway. What self-respecting Bronco fan doesn't love John Elway? We all love Elway. But just because you love somebody doesn't mean that that's the right job, being the GM of the Denver Broncos, for him, right? I mean, I'm sure the New York Jets love Joe Namath, but they don't want that drunken, slobbering guy as their GM, right? I wouldn't either. But I think John Elway is a good GM. Has he made some bad draft picks? Has he had some bad luck, some bad years? Made some bad decisions? Yes. But I think every GM has. And the point I'm trying to make is that from the Chubb pick on, he's had some really nice picks and free agent signings. I mean, let's don't forget about the $50,000 cheap that we got Alexander Johnson for, and the undrafted rookie that we got in Lindsey that ends up making it to the Pro Bowl. And we got to give him credit for all of those things, along with the good and bad draft picks. And there's a lot of Bronco fans that want to fire John Elway. And I'm okay with it, right? Because I love John Elway, but I love the Denver Broncos 100 times more than I love John Elway. And if somebody can give me a solution, say, well, here's what we should do. I think we need to fire Elway. We hire this guy. Here's how we're going to be able to get him away from, Detroit or the Giants or whatever team he's on. Here's his link to come to Colorado. Here's probably what it's going to cost. I think they can make it with the ownership right here. Here's his pedigree. Give me a damn solution, man. Because the solution ain't fire Elway when you're 0-3 and your team's down in the shit box. That's not the solution. That's pouring gas on top of the fire. Fire Elway. And I'm okay if we fire him. But I went into this year with John Elway being my GM. And at week 3, because we've had a lot of bad luck and bad things that has come our way, the last thing I want to hear, David, is fire Elway, because that's some bullshit. And if you're a self-respecting Broncos fan, you know that. Now, at the end of this year, if we see, man, Team was managed poorly. Vic Fangio hasn't done a good job coaching this team, which I will say out of the first 2 weeks, I don't think he has done a good job coaching this team. And is that on Elway? Well, hell yes, it is. But we've only played 3 games. So let's play all 16 first. And then at the end of the year, if you want to say, well, let's fire John Elway, and here's the solution, I'm down like Chinatown. But I'm not in week 3 because we have a whole bunch of injuries and things don't look good. Fire John Elway. That's something that all the Chiefs trolls and Raiders trolls and Patriots trolls and Chargers trolls are going to say in my chat room. That's not something self-respecting Bronco fans should say in my chat room or in a message board. Either provide me a solution to firing John Elway or zip it, man. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I ain't trying to get sideways with you, David. It just, to real Bronco fans, something like that's a little irritating because there is no solution, right? That's like the guy at the work or at the job or after the game's been played, they call him the locker room lawyer. Oh, we should have done this and we should have done that and we should have done that. Shut up. We did everything we prepared to do. We did everything we set out to do. We thought we made all the right decisions for game day, and it didn't work out for us, man. And that ain't John Elway's fault. So I expect that out of the Chiefs trolls. I mean, like, look, if you got Hog Farmer or you got Gary Holland up in here saying fire John Elway or trying to, I'm good with it. I expect that out of them dudes. Right? I mean, when Kareem Hunt was gotten busted for booting that chick in the face, I was, making all kinds of troll Kareem Hunt accounts and clowning on the Chiefs. Right, clowning on their GM for their decisions and all that stuff. That's what opposing teams do. But that's not what you do in week 3 when the chips are down and your back's against the wall. This is time for just pro athletes to look at themselves in the mirror and say, are we going to walk out there and get stomped on every single week? Are we going to walk out there and at least get punched in the face and all of our chiclets knocked out? But we're going to punch back. We're going to fight to the damn death. And if we lose, we lose. I'm good with the Broncos losing. Look, the reality is the Broncos will probably only win a handful of games this year, and that's if they'll win 5. They'll probably win somewhere between 0 and 4. And if they win between 0 and 4 or 5 games, we're going to have a very high pick. And we need some offensive tackle help. I think that's obvious. Bowles is in a contract year. We can't block anybody at right tackle. And the best tackle in the nation at Oregon, this is a kid they're already saying that right now you should start hemming him up for a gold jacket in the NFL. That's how of a surefire lock real deal he is. And they got him on going number 2 only because of Trevor Lawrence. Now, I'm not going to start talking about draft picks in week number 3 going into week 4. Because a lot can happen. Those guys could get hurt. I mean, anything could happen. So I'm not going to talk about draft picks. Look, all I want to do is win the next football game we play in. I want to see some of our young guys play. I want to see some guys come in there and compete. Go hard. And if you lose, you lose. But just show me the effort. Show me good coaching moves. Show me good clock management. Give me something to hang on to. Ah, man. Let's see. What else we got here? I see Paz, 1986. Welcome to the stream. How is this John Elway's fault? It's not. We kind of went over that. Hog Farmer says Elway can't find the right head coach. That might be true, Hog Farmer. But I know he was pressured into the VJ move. I know some people on the Broncos inside, some ex-players that are very, and I mean, I hang out with them, not hang out with them, but I hunt with these dudes. And I've had in-depth conversations about that hiring of Coach Vance. And it wasn't Elway's choice. Look, there's some things going on behind the scenes with the struggle of the ownership of the Broncos between a couple of family members. Because Pat Bolin's got a couple daughters with a couple of different ladies, and both of them think that they're the rightful heirs to the Denver Broncos. And Joe Ellis and John Elway, and I guess a little board or commission has got some requirements for them to all do. And then there's going to be some sort of decision that comes by, sometime to where that will happen. And then that new person who takes over the Broncos can then decide, hey, you know what? Elway is the problem. And I want to get rid of him. And I want to get this guy. And I want him to hire a new coach. And we're just going to redo the whole thing and put a whole new spin and a whole new look to this team in Denver. I'm okay with that if that day comes. I'm not going to be sad that John Elway has to get on down the road. But let's don't forget this guy won a Lombardi trophy here. He took us to 2 Super Bowls as a GM. He's made some mistakes. He's human. Players don't work out. They don't work out every year for every team. There's not one team out there that didn't draft a player and go, man, that guy was a bust, whether he was a first rounder or a fifth rounder. Because even a third, fourth, and fifth rounder, you expect to make your football team and to make some sort of impact at some point, or why in the hell did you draft the guy in the first place? Anyway, head coaches are hard to find. You're right, IC Paz. Not every team can have Belichick's. That's right. Good coaches are hard to find, and good GMs are hard to find, and good quarterbacks are hard to find. Just like when they say, oh, well, Elway, he's responsible for signing Joe Flacco. Yeah, he is. But what was our solution? Other than just start Locke from the jump. And you say, oh, well, that's what we should have done, right? That's what the Chargers are doing. That's what they did with Carson. They just started him from the jump. Well, you are behind those closed doors. Maybe Drew Lock had some sort of injury. Maybe he didn't know the playbook. Maybe he was struggling to learn NFL offenses because it's completely different from that run and gun, shotgun, no huddle offense that he was running at Missouri. He wasn't ready to go from day one. So we had to do something. We needed a bridge. We needed a Band-Aid. That's why we signed Joe Flacco. Was it a good move? At the time, it was the best move on the board. What was the other good move? Case Keenum? Or maybe... who was the other guy? Kirk Cousins for the bit. I mean, Kirk Cousins ain't doing nothing. So I think he had to make it. You know, it's kind of like you don't like Brussels sprouts and you don't like broccoli, but you have to eat one of them. That was Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's the broccoli. Hard to find, man. Anyway, Matt Rodriguez, how do you get this back to a Super Bowl team? In my opinion, that's a good question, Matt. Look, Super Bowls are hard to win. All the moon and stars, everything's got to line up. Plus, you got to be injury-free. Have a fantastic coach that's very innovative to, 21st century defenses. You got to have a ownership that's strong, a fan base that's strong. You got to have a lot of things that are strong to have it all line up to win a Super Bowl. And I think probably the key thing is you got to have a quarterback. And we don't have that hit yet here. So the very first thing we got to do, in Denver is we have to find out if Drew Lock is the quarterback. Because I don't know if he is. I've never said that he is. I said, hey, last year he played 5 games. He looked real good in 2 of them. He looked fantastic in 2 of the other ones. So he looked real good and fantastic in 4 of the 5. I think he played well enough in the Tennessee game, except for the fact he missed that guy in the end zone, which cost us the football game, and that is a pass that a professional athlete can never miss. Never. That's a can of corn. That's candy. That's like missing just a routine ground ball, and you're, a rookie shortstop. That can't happen. It can't happen. But it does happen, but it can't happen. And the fact that it did to us on that day, we lost the football game. But I think Drew played well enough to win that Tennessee game. So I think that's the first step because, the Broncos probably aren't going to have a very good season, and we are going to have a shot at one of those top draft picks, and with some trades and some wheeling and dealing, there is a plausible way we will be able to move to whatever spot we want depending on how much we're willing to give up. And the good news is that if Locke has a bad year when he comes back, well, then we obviously need a quarterback. And if he has a good year when he does come back, well, then we obviously also need a tackle. And if he has an average year, well, we need both. And the best part about it is they're not going to go number 1 or number 2. And I think the second best tackle in the draft is probably in the 4 or 5 slot. And then you got the kid from Ohio State who plays quarterback that's a pretty damn good little player. So those problems are going to shake themselves out. What we have to hope, is that Drew Lock can come back here and give us every reason to believe that he's still the man. He's still the guy that we can build things around, and I think he is. And then when we go to the draft, we get forced on our hand with that right or left tackle situation, depending on what's there, what is available, and we also get forced to address the middle linebacker position because Josie Jewell ain't no NFL linebacker. And that's hopefully where our picks go. Hopefully it doesn't go to a quarterback because that's the last thing we need. But that being said, and everybody says, well, Elway's never been good at selecting quarterbacks. Yeah, because we're not selecting them in the first round in the top 10. Right? It's pretty easy to find you a great player when you're selecting in the top 10. We're selecting second round guys, trading for dudes. We've never gone all in on a quarterback. And if you want to get Goldilocks this year, you're probably going to have to go all in if you ain't got the number one spot. So the Broncos will be forced at a decision based on Drew Lock's play, and hopefully he's back here in at least, let's say he's out 2 more weeks, even 3 more weeks. It still gives him a lot of games to play in the rest of the year to see how he makes decisions. I don't really care how many games Drew wins because that has a lot to do with your team. But I care about the decisions he makes, the throws he makes, the accuracy that he has, the leadership that he possesses, the way he commands our team. That's what matters to me because that's something that we can build on. I want to see that he has the ability to be an NFL quarterback at a high level. And if he doesn't, then it's better we just rip the Band-Aid and go right for what we got to do. But there's no reason to talk about that at 0-3 in week 3. There's no reason to talk about that. There's no reason to talk about firing John Elway in week 3. Those are the things you evaluate after the season's over. We've made our bed for 2020, and it's time to sleep in it. You understand me? All right. Let's see. Scott Pilote might be available. I mean, it's been bad. Hey, Sev, what's happening? Welcome to the string. All them fans from the other teams mad because Elway's has slapped their teams up when he played. I mean, yeah. Look, there's always going to be haters, right? I mean, Elway he slapped up everybody when they played. And they hate. That's why the Chiefs fans, they all called him Horsetooth and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? If somehow he miraculously got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, there'd be so many red number 7 jerseys in this parking lot, it'd make you want to puke. But it's different when our own fan base is turning on Elway. Because like I said, I'm fine with Elway being fired. Because I love the Broncos more than I love Elway. I love Tim Tebow. But I told Elway straight to his face because I met him several times that the best move you ever made was cutting Tim Tebow. I love that kid. I want him on this team somehow. I wish we could find a way for him to play here because he's a football player. He's a good dude. He's a good guy to have in your organization, but he ain't no NFL quarterback. We're not winning Super Bowls with that guy. So as much as the fan base loved him because he went on that little streak where he win like 7 games or something. Everybody's like, oh, everybody's doing the Tebow. Tebow wasn't no quarterback. There's people still think Tebow can play quarterback. We should have never got rid of Tebow. These are uneducated, dumb Broncos fans. They're dumb football fans. Anyway, Matt Rodriguez, what is another solution at quarterback? Well, the fact of the matter is there isn't another solution this year. I don't like Jeff Driscoll. I mean, Jeff Driscoll is... Let's face it, man. This dude's garbage. I'd rather have Flacco than Jeff Driscoll. And Flacco's terrible. So I'd rather see Brett Ripien play and have Bortles be his backup. Because, I'm not saying Ripien's a good quarterback. I mean, I'd rather go sign Chad Kelly and bring him back here and let him play quarterback. I mean, at least he was exciting to watch. There ain't nothing exciting about the rest of the guys we got on this roster. And there's nothing about any of them that tells me that they're going to be able to win here. So it is what it is, man. Sometimes you got the flu. And you just got to take your medicine and you got to swallow that shit. It don't taste good. You don't like it. You don't want to do it, but you know it must be done. That's the position we're in right now. And that's just the facts, Jack. Diamond Rattler says, Juwan James opting out really hurt the right tackle position. You're right. It did hurt. But you know what? That dude's soft. He's soft. So I want him off this team anyway. I want him off the team, so I'm almost glad he's not here. I really am. Isaiah, calm down there, bud. Don't take your frustration out on the Raiders. We can both take it out on the Chiefs. Look, hey, Raiders and Chiefs both look, like they're going to have pretty decent seasons. I think if the Broncos had stayed healthy, we could have maybe given y'all at least a run for your money in a couple of games, but I don't really expect either one of those games to be, for the Broncos are definitely not going to be favored coming into play the Chiefs. And we definitely, with the injuries we have, do not have a polished enough team to beat somebody like the Chiefs. But, Hog Farmer, Chief Urag, on any given Sunday, you can get got. Nobody thought Mike Tyson was going to get knocked out by Buster Douglas. Nobody thought David was going to beat Goliath. Nobody thought the 13-point underdog Broncos were going to beat and slap up the Packers in the Super Bowl. Nobody thought the Houston Oilers were going to come from behind, 35 points or something, whatever they did that day? I think it was them. Things happen in the NFL, and that's exactly why they play the games. If I'm a betting man, is my money going to be on the Broncos this year? Hell no. Not. We don't have a complete team. We don't have our studs. And look, we ain't a good enough team to win with our studs. So without them, what do we got? We're a practice squad right now. A shell of what we were 3 weeks ago. Anyway, Gary Harlan says, Broncos, you're a true fan. 0-16, no, just like me and my Chiefs team. I mean, I am a Chiefs. I am a real fan, Gary. And, half of my family's Chiefs fans. Not my immediate family, but I got a lot of family in Kansas City. And they're proud of their Chiefs. And they're Chiefs fans through and through. And we're Broncos fans out here through and through. And look, all teams got to go through this sometimes. That's why when you finally get the good days, when you finally are holding up trophies and you're winning football games, and it's awesome having your buddies over on Saturday or on Sunday, do a little barbecuing, a little beer drinking, have a little fellowship, and you're just enjoying each other's company. You don't have to have your nose 4 inches away from the TV screen because you're like, yeah, we're down by 6, but it ain't no thing because Patrick Mahomes is over on our sideway, dog. He's on our sidelines. He's fixing to come in right now. We're probably going to put up 4 touchdowns in 3 minutes. That's how we felt when we had Elway here. We don't feel like that right now here in Denver. We feel like the Chiefs did when we had Elway. Except for that little stint there when you had Montana. And still wasn't good enough to get it done. But we've had some good times. And these are the bad times. This is when you find out who the real Bronco fans are. Right? Because comments are happening on my videos. It's like, oh, the Chiefs always said. No, they don't. I've been to Arrowhead 20 times. I have seen the place half full with my own 2 baby blues for a regular season game when your team sucked. You ain't never seen that here in Mile High. The longest home sellout streak of all teams in the NFL, and I think the second or third longest in all pro sports. You ain't seen that here. And we've been bad before. People still go to the games. But after we won that Super Bowl, a lot of fans went and got them some Bronco gear. They were Bronco fans, just like the Chiefs. Look, I've lived in my little apartment here in Old Colorado City for 10 years. And for 10 straight years, I've always seen Chiefs fans around. We ain't that far from the Kansas border. It's only 3 hours from here. So there's Chiefs fans here. And like there's Broncos fans in Kansas and Missouri. And I'd see one here and there. Now they're walking around everywhere. There's so many people wearing Chiefs gear, it's ridiculous. That tells you they're bandwagon fans because they weren't proud enough to walk down the street in any territory with Kansas City Chiefs dripping red and yellow from head to toe when y'all was 5-11. But let them win a Super Bowl, walking around just hollering Chiefs at the top of their lungs. So that's proof there is bandwagon fans. I ain't trying to say Chiefs are bandwagon fans. Chiefs got some sweet-ass OG fans, some nice fans. But they also have a lot of new fans. Just like the Patriots got a lot of nice new fans when they won the Super Bowl, and we got some here too. But I ain't one of those people. Because if the Broncos are 0-16, I'm still going to be on here telling you how much I love them. Ah, man. Matt Rodriguez says, hard being Colorado born and raised, being a Broncos fan since I was knee-high and seeing them lose year after year. We've been spoiled. Well, yeah, we have been spoiled, but I don't know really that we have. I mean, we took a lot of Super Bowl losses on the chin. Yeah, we got there a bunch of times. And that's not even to mention how many times in those, in that run that Elway went to all those Super Bowls, we lost at least 2 AFC championship games where we didn't go to the Super Bowl. Otherwise, we would have went to a whole gang of them. So, that's pretty hard. I mean, let's remember those days. Broncos are the franchise. You can always get the Super Bowl, but you can never win the big one. You guys can't win the big one. You choke when you get to the big game. Until we didn't choke and then went back to back. And then a couple decades later, go to 2 more. So, I don't know. We've had good and bad here. And I think you got to take the good with the bad. Either be a fan or don't be a fan. Because I'm okay if you're not a Broncos fan. I'm okay if you only want to be a Broncos fan when it's a feel-good times and you're at the party and you got your Broncos gear on so you don't feel like you don't fit in. I understand those type of fans. We need them too. But them ain't real fans. I'm not one of those fans. You understand? Oh, man. Brady carved up that Fangio defense. Well, you're right, Brandon Rodgers. He did. But did Brady really carve up our Fangio defense? Or did Brady carve up Ojemudia because AJ Boye is out? Ojemudia is a rookie who had no preseason and no training camp. Did he carve that guy up or did he carve Vic Fangio up? Because I don't know which one it is, but maybe you know better than me. Kirk Cousins is 0-3 with the Vikings right now, right? Swali Jafari, do you want Fangio fired right now? No. I don't even want to hear the word fire Fangio until all 16 games have been played. And then we can talk about it. But Fangio is the coach here for the whole year. Has Fangio looked good? If I had to give him a grade right now, I'd give him a D+. A D+ for Coach Vic Fangio right now. But I don't want him fired. Gary Holland says, if we do get the number 1 pick, do you draft a Clemson quarterback? Well, that all depends on what Drew looks like when he comes back. If Drew Lock comes back, and let's just say he plays 8 games at the end of the year, or even 10. Say he plays in 10 games. And in those 10 games, he looks, I don't care what the record, we can go 0-10. If he looks good in 75-80% of those games, he's got to look good in those games. To where, hey, we lost it because we just couldn't stop anybody from scoring because we have 3 corners that are out. And, Drew played really well, put up a lot of points, but we still couldn't win because our defense couldn't shut anybody down. To me, does that look bad on Drew Lock? No. But to answer your question, if we don't see, okay, yeah, there it is. That's why we liked Drew Lock last year. I mean, look at these passes. Look at him carving up this defense. Look at these long balls he's throwing. Look at this precision and accuracy. Look at these good decisions. He's not throwing interceptions. He's taking care of the football. He's taking what he can getting down and staying healthy, which is the best ability is availability. He's doing all of those things. Well, then no. Trevor Lawrence isn't even on my radar as bad as I want him because Trevor Lawrence is a good-looking quarterback. But Trevor Lawrence is a damn rookie. Ryan Leaf was a good-looking quarterback. So was Jamarcus Russell. So was a whole bunch of other ones that you could name. Great-looking quarterbacks. Turned out to be stumps. And Trevor Lawrence might be a stump too. So I hope we are not in a position where we have to go get Trevor Lawrence. I hope we're not in that position. I hope we're in a position where we're comfortable with what Drew's done, even when he came back from his injury. And now we need to get some help, obviously, along that offensive line. And look, here we are, sitting in the top of the draft, and there's 2 great tackles here, and one of them's potential Hall of Fame material. I'd like to be in that position. So, whatever. You like Elway as a player, but as a GM, you could do without him. And that's fair. I mean, there's people that don't like Elway and people that do like Elway. I'm indifferent about it. I'm just saying, if you're going to be a Broncos fan and you're going to tell me the problem is Elway, those are the same people blaming everything on Trump. The problem's Trump. Oh, it's Trump's fault. That's Trump's fault. That's Trump's fault too. That's Trump's fault. They're the same people. They're locker room lawyers. They're the same people. Give me a damn solution or shut up. Shut up. Because right now, I don't see a better solution for a guy who cares about the Broncos, cares about Colorado, cares about winning, cares about our fan base, cares about this proud franchise more than John Elway. I ain't saying that there ain't somebody out there who's not better than him. If there is, bring him forth and let's get him on board and let's get Elway the hell out of here. But until somebody gives me a better solution, because I've looked, I can't find no better solution. And until you can provide me a better solution, I don't want to hear about that. None of that fire Elway. Elway's the problem. I don't like Elway. Matt Rodriguez says Raiders are a fluke. They choke when it matters. I bleed orange and blue with them. Said I'm a Raven. I'm all in with the Ravens this year. I like Lamar Jackson, and he's a humble, good kid. Yeah, I think the Ravens look nice. And, as far as the Raiders being a fluke, I don't think they're a fluke. I mean, I think they can score some points. I think if Carter gets hot, they can play a little football. I think they got a couple good defensive players. I don't think the Raiders are there yet. But I don't think Raiders and the Raiders fans know that they're not there yet. They're not there. But they're a lot better than they were 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. They're a lot better right now than they've been at any time in recent history. So if you're a Raiders fan, there's some things to look forward to, just like there's some things to look forward to here in Denver, because all of us are chasing the Chiefs, and it's going to be that way for a little while. That's just the way it goes. That's the breaks. That's pro football, man. Jafari, what other stadiums have I been to? I've been to games in Kansas City, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Miami, obviously Denver. I've been to San Diego. I think that's it, man. I think that's all the ones I've been to. Oh, been to Green Bay. Went there last year. I've probably been to a couple others. I just don't even remember. But I don't know, 10 or something like that. Gary Cole says, welcome to the stream, Gary. It's either Gary or Jerry. It's probably Jerry. Sorry, man, for messing your name up. Jerry Cole says, y'all Broncos have one thing going for y'all at least. Y'all haven't lost back-to-back games where you were up by 20. Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, like I said, we've competed in both games, and both the first 2 games we competed in. We had opportunities to win, and that didn't close the deals. So, look, that's day in the life of the NFL. I mean, that separates the great franchises from the mediocre ones, and the people who are going to be in the playoffs to the people who are going to be eating popcorn. And this year, we're a popcorn team. I mean, you saw me throughout. If you didn't see me throughout the trash just a minute ago on my video, just go watch it. Cousin Candy, what's happening? I talked to your dad today on the phone, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Matt Rodriguez, you don't think players are soft? Look what happened to Fangio. Said racism wasn't in the locker room. All these players cried. Give me a break. Man, I don't really know what's happening in an NFL locker room. I've never been inside one, so I couldn't really tell you what's going on in there. I'm not going to really touch on the racism issue. I don't really think there's a systemic racism problem, but I do think there's racial problems, racial slurs. There's some things that are happening, but I don't think it's a widespread problem, and I don't think that it is systemic, but I do think it is a problem, and it needs to be addressed and dealt with. I mean, it's just better off for all of us. That being said, I'm not down with the whole BLM and all that's going on. That's a bad group. Anyway, let's see. UNC Sniper, what's good, Bronc Nuts? The Broncos are frustrating to watch. It's only week 4, and I already want the season to be over with. Well, hey, man, any football's better than no football, right? I mean, because let's just take it back a few short weeks when we were like, oh, man, They say they're going to play, but now a couple college, conferences have canceled. So what if we play 3 games or 2 games and somebody gets sick and they got to quarantine half the team and now you can't play and now there's no football and they cancel the season? And the reality is that still could happen. It probably won't happen, but it still could happen. And so I'd rather watch the Broncos lose every single game than have no football at all. I mean, that's just me. Maybe that ain't you, but that's me because when the game's on, I'm going to watch every play. I watch every play, every move that every player makes, the time, the down and distance, the calls, everything. And like I'm sure a lot of you watching this are a Broncos fan, you do the same thing. But I'm not the guy that, is just a Broncos fan. Oh, let's have the game on and let's talk. Nah, I ain't about all that. Don't call me during the game. Don't try to tell me what happened yesterday in your life, why it's 3rd and 16. Right? I'm not trying to hear about all that. I'm watching the football game. So I'm still good, even if we're 0 and 16. I like seeing the orange and blue play. And look, I just want them to compete hard. I just want them to fight. I just want them to get out there and fight. Fight for a win. And if you fight for a win and you come up short, then you can at least have some dignity, man. You can look at yourself in the mirror and it's respect, right? That you went out there and you did everything that you could do and just wasn't enough. And sometimes that's the way it goes. Sometimes you got to settle for a red ribbon and you did everything you could to win. You still couldn't win. That's sports. That's pro sports. That's life. So I don't know. I don't really want it to be over because as soon as it's over, I can't wait for it to start again. Giving up a safety in back-to-back games. I know, man. That block punt. It's one thing after another. And look, that's sometimes just the way things go. When something goes bad, then another thing goes bad, and then you get this injury, this injury, mismanage a clock, fumble a punt, fumble this, handoff, throw this interception, then another guy gets hurt, and you're just circling the damn drain. And that's what's happening, right? So the only way out of that is somebody has to pull up their bootstraps and just has to say, this is enough. And maybe all this losing and frustration brings some piece of, what we're going to have for the future of our locker room more together, make it more close. Because in tough times, that's all you got to look at is the guys around you. I've been on some college teams, and it ain't always rosy. And when it's not rosy, you got to look to the man next to you and the other man next to you. And you both look in each other's eyes, and you know how hard we worked. And it's time for somebody else to make plays. And that just has to be the attitude you have to have. And you got to go out fighting and swinging, man. Come out on your shield, right? Die on your shield or come back carrying it. And on this last game, we didn't have not enough folks dying on their shield. And that's what Broncos fans are looking for, because I think we've all resigned ourselves to the fact that we ain't going to win very many football games because you can't win the football games without the Jimmies and the Joes. And we ain't got the Jimmies and Joes. So, anyway, let's see what else we got. Gary Cole says we could be worse. I don't know, man. Really? What's worse? I don't even want to say what could be worse, but as bad as things have gone for us this year, I've been a Broncos fan for a long, long, long time. I never, ever remember anything going, we get bad news every 2 hours. That's never, every 2 hours. We get bad news, like the phone beeps. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, somebody got hurt. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, we just got this. He got a black eye, taking out his trash and mowing his yard. Boop, boop, boop. Fangio just sprained his ankle. Boop, boop, boop. The ownership is, she's just had in the hospital, had complications. Boop, boop, boop. Von Miller out. Boop, boop, boop. That's the way it's gone for us. My phone's ringing off the hook with notifications of news that's happening to the Broncos. So when you say it could get worse, I don't know. I don't know what could be worse other than the whole team got sick with the Corona Shabona and we just had to forfeit games. I think that's probably worse. But I don't know how it gets worse than that. Oh, man. Let's see here. What else we got in the stream? Thanks for everybody joining the stream, man. I appreciate you guys all showing up. It's really, Wasn't meant to be a rant. Just wanted to kind of talk about the game, give some shout outs to the Bucks Nation, the Bucks fan base. I know there's a few Bucks on YouTube that make videos. I'm sure you guys are proud of your team. I'm sure you're happy that Brady and Fournette and a few other guys are there. And I think you guys are going places. And you gave us a strong butt kicking. And I knew you were going to, because I watched your defense play, and I said, man, that defense is good enough to cause us some serious problems. And Brady don't look done to me. So shout out to the Bucks fans. I hope you guys compete for that division this year. I just think it makes football more fun when you see some teams that haven't been winning in a while all of a sudden come to the forefront and start making some noise and winning some games. And for that to happen, there has to be the yin and the other side of the yang, and we're on the yang while the other people are yinging, and we're on the yang side, to where we've gone from good times to, I mean, you can't even say dark times. We're in worse than that. We're like medieval where the Broncos are right now. But there is a way out, and we have made some good steps. Let's don't forget about all of the good things that we have done. We are one of the youngest teams in the NFL right now, and that is important. It takes a few years for players to gel and learn how to play together in the NFL and learn how to win. Right? It takes some time. And that's why teams that have a quarterback that have been in their organization, and a coach and a GMs that have been in the organization for a long period of time have a lot of success over the years, because they play together. They know their system, and then you can build upon that, make it more complex, more disguisable. We are so far from that point right now that we need to focus on getting healthy, figuring out what we really have in Drew Lock. Let the season play out how it's going to play out, so that we can make a good decision in the future about the face and the way that the Denver Broncos goes forward. This is the OG Broncos from the 719 on the west side, checking up out of here. 0-3. Man, this sucks. Jets and Broncos this week, the trash bowl. Nobody wants to watch this, but let's get our first win, because what we need to do is start a winning culture, and there ain't no way to do it but to do it. Got to get somehow a win. I'm out. Thanks for everybody joining the stream. See you tomorrow, suckers.